but this one is calling itself the R36S Plus, and it does not deserve to have the R36 name in it at all. It is just completely, I struggle to find one nice thing about it, but I did find one nice thing to say about it. So I hope you... When you shop with your Capital One debit card, there are no overdraft fees, which makes it an even easier decision than, no wait, I'm not a spokesperson for Capital One, although I do use their products, Deadhead. Anyways, welcome to the channel, Deadheads, or welcome to the channel for the first time, new Deadheads. Today, we're gonna... Hey guys, it's me, Dead Fred. So today we're gonna talk about a handheld that probably the worst one that I've reviewed in very long time. And I do it out of joy because I want to prevent any unsuspecting person from, spending even just $25 on something that is just completely horrible. And today's handheld is one of those, one that I expect could show up on TikTok and surprise many of your loved ones, people that would never watch this channel, but will see something on TikTok and think it's cool. So anyways, I want to thank our friends at AliExpress for sending this over for us to review. Without their support, it would be difficult to review all these obscure and random handhelds. But this one is calling itself the R36S Plus, and it does not deserve to have the R36 name in it at all. It is just completely... I struggle to find one nice thing about it, but I did find one nice thing to say about it. So I hope you guys enjoy this content. I hope you enjoy this video. Again, I want to thank AliExpress, my sincere thanks for them supporting the channel and sending products for us to review for you guys so that you can get an idea of this. Now, while I'm being very harsh on this, the reality is if someone does receive this and doesn't have any experience in emulation or handheld hardware, they'll be able to live with it. But you guys know here that we're looking for something much better. Anyways, let's hop in. As always, let's start with the box. And this is part of what's really bizarre here because it's actually a decent box. So as you can see here, the box itself is not really terrible. Again, R36S Plus, it is not anywhere near this R36 line. It has the game console, it's got this little super player on it, and they present it looking pretty nice. In fact, the marketing was pretty nice looking whenever I looked at this and chose to review this. So again, they're doing a marketing. It even showed a 3326. So guys, I thought we were getting a 3326, but a little bit that in a minute. It's got some, inspirational "Oh Youth" on there, 3 colorways. And so once we open the box and get inside, the first thing you can see is that, oh no, we've got those mustard and ketchup cables. I always indicate that when that arrives, that is a sign that this is not a quality product. So I kind of knew right ahead that this was not going to be what I thought it might be from ordering it. But we see inside, we do at least have USB-C, and we do have a little bit of a manual. Now, the manual is not super impressive, nothing, impressive about it. I was looking it over and kind of looking at the wording and trying to find out if it had anything about the CPU because I didn't see anything on the box and was wondering, is this really a 3326? So, I didn't know, but we wanted to kind of look at the manual and look it over. So the box and packaging is pretty decent and fair until you open it and you see those mustard and ketchup cables and you kind of know it's kind of poop. But let's get it out of the box and take a look at it and just give our first impressions. All right. And so picking it up, the first thing I noticed was how light it was. This thing is light, which equals cheap. And so you can see here that I also had seen pictures of this, but until I got it in person, I didn't realize how big and thick that bezel is. This is a 3.5-inch vertical handheld. This is a 3.5-inch vertical handheld. This is the Battle XP, the one that had really impressed us. Look at the difference between the bezels on that. It's just unacceptable. I mean, again, you're going to call yourself an R36S Plus. Plus what? Nothing plus here. This is garbage. Sorry, I'm going to be a little stern here because this thing really is terrible in a lot of ways. It's very cheap feeling. The plastic's cheap. It's very small. Um, it just felt, as soon as I picked it up. Now, I did say I was going to talk about one nice thing about it. So let me start, when we're talking about the hardware, we'll start with what I thought was nice. It does in the marketing mention this, the triggers. These are good triggers. They feel really good. They're clicky, so they're a little bit loud, but I actually like the way they feel and move. And I did open this thing up, and actually it was easy to put it back together. So that's another positive. So the only thing I can say that I found about this that I actually thought was decent was the triggers. Everything else on this is just not to our standards at all. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about this awesome product sent to us by our friends over at AliExpress. It is a phone, and I have been looking for a phone that I could use as a dedicated handheld with my telescopic controllers. And this phone right here, the Umidigi G9T, has really impressed. It has a Unisoc T606 processor. Now that processor is a newer processor, and it seems to be on par with what you would have seen in the T610, which was on the Retroid Pocket 2S, which is a fairly good processor for N64, Dreamcast, and everything below, and even plays PS2. I was really surprised at the quality of this phone. It is a nice big screen, it feels well built, and best of all, it's only around $100. But I actually have been playing PS2 on this, so check out some of the footage of me playing PS2. Now, it's not going to play all the PS2, it's going to be limited, but I had a pretty good time being able to use it. So pairing this with your favorite telescopic controller is a good bargain. Anyways, as always, we want to thank our friends from AliExpress and Amazon for always supporting the channel. Make sure you check out the links below if you want to check these products out. Anyways, back to our show. It's just not to our standards at all. Upon inspecting this thing further, when we start looking at the buttons, and the buttons themselves are tiny. They're really tiny. They're too small. Again, showing you a recent handheld that is in the same class, a 3.5-inch vertical. This buttons, you can just see the difference in the button size. This is an appropriate size button. This is not. These are too little. They're way small. They are quiet, I'll give you that. So when pressing the buttons down, they don't make a lot of noise. They are super quiet, and they are, believe it or not, they're not connected to the other buttons, so they're not mashing each one. So that is favorable. As we move over to the other buttons, you can hear it gets clickier. So your start, select, and menu buttons are clicky, so that's okay. But these buttons, I don't like them. They're too small. They're not polished well enough. They have a little bit of a sharp edge on them. They're just not very good. This D-pad, now Game MT, we've told you we didn't like it in the Game MT. I like it even less here. It's even worse than the Game MT E5 or E6. So this is just bad, very bad. And then it does have a stick. Now the stick has no clicky, so this stick is probably digitally wired to this. It's not analog. Not like you're going to play analog on this anyways. So it's kind of useless to have both. They should have just went with one, or maybe put a real D-pad in this thing and save some space. It does have this little Hawaiian looking design down here, which I guess is kind of nice looking. But again, there is nothing here that is in any sort of acceptable manner as far as buttons go, except for the shoulder buttons, which are the only thing that kind of impressed me. But as you see what's inside of this and what we can play, you're not going to use the shoulder buttons that much. So again, a huge waste here. Now it does have this weird little butt hump design. Now I'll say that also was a little bit okay gripping this thing, so that wasn't too bad as well. We do have a volume wheel. I like wheels. It's on the INEO Pocket DMG. I like wheels, so bring wheels back. It works okay. On the top we have a switch, so it turns on with the power switch. And then we have this really old type of plug for your controllers. And then you do have USB-C for powering it. There is a TF card slot. It comes with a 16 gig card. And then the most baffling thing, they can't even, I'm going to see if I can get this up here, but I'll do some B-roll footage, but they can't even get the markings right on the back here. The word on is printed backwards, so it says no, and then the word type C is misspelled. It just, again, sloppy, unacceptable. They don't care. This is on all of them. This isn't a misprint or just a one-off thing. This is the way this shell was mass produced. So that's just unacceptable. Also, once I opened it up, I realized my speaker was in backwards. So it had horrible sound. So the sound got a little better once I fixed the speaker. So hardware, this is just not very good. Not very good. I'm trying to not be very ugly about this, but it's pretty awful, especially when it's about, maybe $5 less than this, $5 or $10 less. And this is just really good. And the R36S is really good as well. So there's nothing to like about this. Now, I thought an RK3326, maybe I can save it somewhat with some custom firmware. Guys, once we turn this thing on, you can see that it has, so here it is booting up. It just has that old ugly software that we hate. This software is just terrible. There's nothing we can do with it. Now, if you're going to give this to somebody that doesn't know anything about emulation and have them just plug and play, I guess it's okay, but the names of the games are faked. They're not correct. There's no scraping. It's presented poorly. It even has sections where it has Game Boy Advance, and it has another section with the second Game Boy Advance. I don't understand it. It's just terrible. So, also, I don't think this thing is supposed to have a light on the side like that. I think there's light bleed, massive light bleed coming through on the side there. There's no indication of any RGB. That's just defect right there, just terrible defect. And I'm being brutally honest here, guys. I wanted to try to find something positive to say about this, but it's really bad. So let's open this thing up. And once I did open this up, we did find out that it's not using a rock chip. It's using an all-winter chip, an FC1200. I don't know anything about that chip. I'm going to go and look it up, but leave me a comment if you know something about it. But I don't think it's a very good chip. I don't think it's going to do much more. There's no PS1. There's no N64. This tops out at Super Nintendo, and it's struggled on some of that. So this is something that just is not very good. Again, cannot recommend this, for anybody that watches this channel. I know these things will probably be on TikTok. Oh, look how cool. It looks beautiful. And I know it's probably going to have some good marketing. The box looks good. But this, guys, if you know anybody that sees this on TikTok or Instagram or something, steer them towards a real R36S, or this Battle XP, this really good Battle XP, because this one is just junk. And me, I usually find something to enjoy in a lot of these cheap handhelds, but this one, nothing there. This is the worst one I've reviewed in a long time, guys. So anyways, that's it. That's the review of this. It's got terrible software. It's got misprints on it. On the printing of it, can't spell the word right. It's got the word on backwards. It's got some weird light bleed going on the side of the handheld. It is, got game names that are incorrect. It's not scraped properly. It's got a D-pad that's just horrendous. I like the triggers. Triggers are nice, but other than that, it's just bad. But, I didn't want to skim over it. I wanted to do a proper review. That's what I'm here to do, to save you guys. And I hope you enjoy this. I'm not just throwing up a really quick, crappy video. I'm going to do some good editing in this and try to make the video enjoyable and have a little fun with it, even though I'm grateful to AliExpress for sending this. Oh, last thing, I almost forgot, the battery. It's got a weird battery in it. Like, I'll show some B-roll footage of it, but there's a battery door, which is useless. Why have a battery door when you see the battery? Why have a battery door for that? It makes no sense. And it's 1200 milliamp hour. Just forget it, man. This is just not good. Anyways, I'll tell you what is good, and that is loving your hugged ones and hugging your loved ones, because tomorrow is never promised. Anyways, guys, I'll be back with some more exciting stuff, including our full Game Kitty Pixel 2 review coming up soon. Anyways, guys, enjoy. Have a great week. Stay warm. We'll see you next time. Fred's out.